Jordan Poyer or Tremaine Edmunds might not be on the Buffalo Bills for 2023. And in this video, I'm going to prove to you exactly why I believe that could be the case, especially looking at this recent situation here with Jordan Poyer, listening to his girlfriend at the end of the season saying this was the first time in 6 years that they started packing up their entire house. We know that Jordan Poyer came to Buffalo as somewhat as a nobody, got a lot of attention here because of his play, raised his stock. He is likely going to get a lot of money hitting free agency, and plus we explained it in previous videos, Jordan Poyer is going to be making around $13 million if we decide to franchise tag him. So in this video, I'm going to bring up some interesting points and valid reasons why the Buffalo Bills may be considering turning the page on Tremaine Edmunds and Jordan Poyer. And with Jordan Poyer specifically, we just had a couple signings, Maiden and Anderson. Now, these are two unknown, under the radar type safeties that the Buffalo Bills are bringing in. But what were Micah Hyde? What was Jordan Poyer before they came to Buffalo? So it makes sense. Why not bet on that again? Sean McDermott has such a great eye for talent at the DB position. He really turned Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer into what they are. They did have veteran experience. It's tough for a rookie to come in, as we've seen with Jaquan Johnson, even Damar Hamlin. There's hiccups along the way. But Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier have proved that they can bring in veteran free agent safeties and get the most of them. Even with Dean Marlowe, we've seen it. And I think if we can go out there and bring in the guys that we want here, just like we did with Jordan Poyer and also Micah Hyde, it makes sense. And keep in mind, Micah Hyde is still going to be here for the Buffalo Bills. So it makes the case of why would we resign Jordan Poyer, who has inflated his stock, who actually at the end of the season, his girlfriend, Rachel Bush, stated this was the first time in 6 years that they packed up in their entire house. Jordan Poyer is going to be making around $13 million with the franchise tag, and the Buffalo Bills are over $20 million over the cap right now. So the Bills really need to start making some decisions here. And last year was the first decision of signing Von Miller to this defensive line. When you allocate that much money to this defensive line, even the re-signing of Ed Oliver, the signings of Daquan Jones, right? We even have Tim Settle here. We splurged on this defensive line, even with draft picks of AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham. We're trying to build this defensive line to help the back end of our defense. We have Trey White, we have Christian Benford, Kyer Elam. You know, I really think that allocation of money to the defensive line, we are trying to make things easier for the back end of our defense. When Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier, they first got here, it made sense to solidify the back end. We didn't know really what we had. And it turns out Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, they balled out while they were here. But it makes a lot of sense to start maybe turning the page on Jordan Poyer. We have to make some cuts somewhere here with Jordan Poyer. And he does live in Florida. I believe he would probably like to play in warmer weather, but I can't speak for that. Now with Tremaine Edmunds, what is going to happen with Tremaine Edmunds? He's young. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. I mean, he's led this defense to the playoffs several years, right? As a young player. And to me, I am concerned about losing Tremaine Edmunds in free agency because of the amount of money that he could get. The Bills can't afford to overpay Tremaine Edmunds. As much as we would like to keep Tremaine Edmunds here, young, developing player, 6'5", that sequoia tree in the middle of our defense, I think the Buffalo Bills could very well lose out on Tremaine Edmunds. Fortunately for us, free agency will be before the NFL draft. And I've been looking at this draft, and I believe there is a linebacker in this year's draft that the Bills could be selecting 27th overall that would be a great replacement for Tremaine Edmunds. Now, Tremaine Edmunds, he's great. He's tall, he's physical, he does a decent job. But again, this defensive line, if we're allocating that much money to this defensive line is not only making it easier for the safeties, it's making it easier for these linebackers to run around and make plays. Maybe we go for a faster linebacker. Really, the only issue and complaint that we have from Tremaine Edmunds is maybe at times he's still a little bit slow. We saw it against the Bengals in pass coverage. He did mess up. Although it was one play, he did screw up, you know, and I think the Bills could very well be considering his replacement in this year's NFL draft. Consider the eye for talent that Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier have in the draft picks that we have selected on defense so far. Great value. I mean, Trey White, 27th overall. There's some great value. Taron Johnson, Matt Milano, even Tremaine Edmunds. You look at the safeties I mentioned. We got Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde in free agency. Well, where did we get Tremaine Edmunds and Matt Milano? The NFL draft. And both, you know, Tremaine Edmunds we traded up for in the first, but Matt Milano was like a 3rd-round pick. So I believe, and even going back, Tanner Vallejo, Terrell Bernard, right? We've selected some decent linebackers. Even Sean McDermott was in that process of drafting Luke Kuechly. I like it, and I believe we could find Tremaine Edmunds' replacement in this year's NFL draft. Without a doubt, we have to find ways to start saving money. We have to find ways to really adjust to what we do best. You know, I think there are some wide receivers and guards, but you have to look at the deficiencies of this team. You know, in previous videos, I discussed it, potentially a defensive tackle to solidify things up, but really looking at the talent that is available. There is a linebacker I'm specifically eyeing. He is 6'5". He's a little bit lighter. He's 230 pounds. He's a little bit faster than Tremaine Edmunds. Drew Anderson of Arkansas seems very dynamic. He's got a ton of tackles. He's got forced fumbles. He has interceptions. He's a great blitzer. He had 9.5 sacks. 9.5 sacks last season. So are the Buffalo Bills considering replacing Tremaine Edmunds with a rookie linebacker? Are the Buffalo Bills considering moving on from Jordan Poyer, right? I believe that could very well be the case for this upcoming season. You know, and I think Bills Mafia, at first glance, we could be concerned and we could be very worried about it. But again, keep those examples in mind. We found Jordan Poyer. We found Micah Hyde in free agency. So why wouldn't we believe in the fact that we can't turn Anderson and Maiden to dynamic players, right? So Drew Sanders was actually his name. Drew Sanders of Arkansas. He's a great linebacker, 6'5", speed demon, dynamic, a little bit faster than Tremaine Edmunds. I think that's kind of what we've been missing. That's what we've been missing for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm really eyeing that position up. You know, and Jordan Poyer, we could try and draft another player, but both these free agent signings, along with Micah Hyde, man, I believe this is probably what we're going to roll with here. Bet on Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones. Bet on Greg Rousseau to take that next step to make things better and easier for the back end of this defense. I mean, they're going to have to. Life without Poyer is going to be tough. And who knows, Micah Hyde might not start the season in 2023, but he was close to starting, right? He was close to starting for the Super Bowl maybe. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like, subscribe. I'm going to be releasing actual specific players' names. I have 3 players right now. You know, I got a top 3 list, and I really think one of these 3 players will be the next Buffalo Bill. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Check you soon. Go Bills. Peace.